Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Here to do a vlog type of video or on-topic video about the roots of my YouTube channel, which I believe I talked about this in one of the podcasts. I think it was with Leo the Funny Nerd, but I don't think that podcast was ever uploaded. And I maybe briefly mentioned the start of my channel in previous videos, but not in detail. So I figured, I have plenty of times on my hand right now with this whole stay at home, pandemic situation. So I figured I share why I started a YouTube channel. And it goes all the way back to 2006 when YouTube was in its infancy. There were not many channels out there, and I remember the Angry Video Game Nerd was kind of like the big video game thing at the time. There weren't many gaming channels that I knew of, and I started watching his videos. This is back when I was in college, in my when I first started college, and that's how I started my channel in '06. If you guys go all the way back to my earliest videos, you will see that I have like 2 videos back then. But I stopped doing videos. It wasn't anything serious or anything like that. But it wasn't until early 2012 when I finally started doing the videos that I'm doing now, like pickups videos or just me sitting in front of the camera, impressions videos and whatnot. And funnily enough, what kind of pushed me over the edge, on that hiatus that I have from '06 to 2012 was I started rewatching the Angry Video Game Nerd videos again. As I mentioned, back in '06, those were his original videos, the ones that were really cool, the most popular ones, if you will. But then I stopped watching after a while. It got old pretty quick. And in 2012, for some reason, I started rewatching his videos, and at the same time, around then, I was, in a period where I was already an adult, having disposable income, having finished college, had a job. And of course, when that happens, I started buying a lot of games. I didn't have to rely anymore on gifts or saving up, chore monies to buy games. Now I was spending my own money from work buying games. And when that started happening, obviously my collection started growing quickly. And I noticed that for certain games that, for example, the shorter games, I would play them, beat them, and put them on the shelf, and then completely forget about them. And that was a very different experience from when I was a younger, when I was a kid, when I was given a game as a present or as a gift, whether it was a birthday or Christmas present. We would play that game until we memorized it, beat it like millions of times. So any game, whether it was a AAA, first party Nintendo game or whatever, or whether it was a crappy third party game that you received as a gift, you would play the games and get to know them really well. And I noticed as an adult, I was not having that same experience, because now you have plenty more games. If you get bored, you stop playing something, not a big deal. But I noticed even for games that I was starting to beat and completing the games, I was quickly forgetting about the story, the characters, sometimes how the game played, how long the game was, and things like that. And it's something normal. If the game doesn't stand out, of course you're gonna start forgetting about things. And so I started back then, I started a blog, which I think I still have it up, but I never had any entries. It was called the Underground Warp. And it was basically one of those free blogs that Google offered. And the goal was I was gonna write my impressions every time I beat a game. I would write like a small review, and just write my own impressions, kind of like what I do now with the videos. And that way I don't forget about certain things, or if I forgot about certain aspects of a game that was kind of forgettable, I would go back years after, and I could check what my impressions at the time I beat the games were. So that's how I started the blog. But at the same time, that was early 2012. At the same time, that's when I started rewatching the Angry Video Game Nerd videos on YouTube. And I noticed back then, YouTube still recommended you videos, and one of the recommendations that kept popping up on the side of the screen, a list of recommendations. A lot of them were long plays, because at the time, long plays were kind of like the hot thing on YouTube. But every now and then, I would get recommendations on this channel called Pete's Game Room. And I would see the preview on the thumbnail, and I was like, that doesn't look very interesting, and of course it was just Pete Dorr, right, sitting in front of the camera talking. And I kept ignoring the recommendations, kept ignoring until one day I was like, YouTube really wants me to watch this guy's channel or videos. So I was like, I'll give it a shot and see what the hell it's all about. And that's when I think it was a pickups video by Pete Dorr, and that's when I kind of like started binge watching his videos. Once I watched that first Pete Dorr video, I just really enjoyed his pickups. He covered everything from retro games to modern games. He picked up games for different systems, Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, Xbox, no bias. He was truly a gamer. That was his main hobby, and I really appreciated that, those videos. So again, I started watching a lot of his videos, and of course, naturally, more recommendations came in the way of other channels that did similar things, and that's how I kind of created the 4 channels that kind of were my initial inspiration, big channels that were my initial inspiration, which are, of course, Pete Dorr was the first one, and then Finn Gamer was the other one. His collection videos were amazing, and then obviously Happy Console Gamer. That was another channel that I started watching back then, and I still do until now. But that was another channel that caught my attention, obviously. And the last one was TV and Lust, which unfortunately he doesn't make. Every now and then he makes new videos, but not as often. And those were kind of like the main 4 channels, big channels as I call them, that I started watching their pickups, their reviews, just pretty much any content that they released. And so I guess you can add a 5th influence, and obviously that's the Angry Video Game Nerd, but that's obviously like a huge mega channel. He was kind of like the precursor, to be honest, and I think credit has to be given where credit is due. I know a lot of people stopped watching him because the new content is not as good. I disagree. I think a lot of his new videos are pretty fun and entertaining, but nevertheless, those were kind of like the 5 channels that ignited a little bit of a fire for me to start watching more YouTube gaming content, which up until then I didn't really do a whole lot. And through watching this quote-unquote big channels, I received recommendations for smaller channels, and that's when I'm going to mention 2 small channels that really tipped the balance over to me stopping the blog idea and actually doing videos. Because initially I was just going to do the blog and keep watching the YouTube videos from other people, but I was like, when I saw these 2 channels, I was like, okay, if these guys can do it, I can probably do it as well. Because at the time, these were quote-unquote very small channels, and to some extent they still are, when you compare them to the big channels out there. And I'm talking about Kit171 and Alex Return to Mother Base. Back then, again, back then YouTube would recommend you smaller channels. Like, there was a good combination of like smaller channels and big channels that would show up in this like list on the side of the screen. The layout was way different back then. And I saw this guy Kit171. I was like, what the hell is this? So I clicked on one of his videos, and it was just him in front of a camera, very low quality and resolution video. And then I remember I checked his channel, and back then Mike, Kit171, he was doing, like, I'm not kidding you guys, like 3 to 4 videos a day. And I started watching him, and his content was good. He's very knowledgeable about games. He's just an honest person, honest, just sitting in front of a camera and not trying to be like a fake person or anything. Just honest, impressions on all his topics and videos. And same thing with Alex, Return to Mother Base. He was almost like another Pete Dorr, but just less popular. I mean, his pickups videos were always entertaining. He would always give like a backstory on certain games that he picked up. And again, no bias. He would pick up games that were, Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, collector's editions. And then he would do his game of the month, which I always enjoyed. Unfortunately, he's not making videos anymore, but I'm sure he'll be back. I have that feeling that he'll be back. And Kid 171, same thing. He's still doing videos, but not as often as he used to. Not 3 or 4 videos a day like he used to. But those were the two quote-unquote small channels. To me, they were actually big channels when I started watching them, because I think I think Kid 171 probably had like 200 subscribers back then, and Alex maybe, I don't know, maybe 100 subscribers or something like that. And to me, those were huge numbers, because I figured if I start doing the same thing, who the hell is going to watch my content, But that again, that kind of like tipped the balance for me to stop doing the blog idea and just sitting in front of a camera, hit the record button, and doing my impressions, my pickups. And I figured it would be much easier, you just hit the record button, just being lazy, hit the stop button, and then upload the videos, and up they are on YouTube. Now, my whole, idea of starting a YouTube channel has always been a selfish idea, because I never created the content with the intention of like being popular or sharing stuff with people. My initial goal was always to just record my impressions on games that I beat, record my pickups videos, and just have a time stamp of all these activities in my gaming life, if you will, that I could go back 5 years from the point that I recorded the video, or 10 years from now, and then go back and just check the videos. And surprisingly, I do that. Sometimes I go back and check my older videos, and it's just funny how much my collection has grown, how much my my impressions videos got better in terms of me articulating and expressing my thoughts. But it's always been a very kind of like selfish initiative, if you will, in the sense that I started the channel for myself. But the beauty of this is that by starting my YouTube channel, obviously it started to be very slow. I think my first on-camera video was a pickups video, actually. And I don't think I got any comments, very few views, when I first uploaded it. And then my second video, I think, was another pickups video. And same thing, but I think maybe I got like a comment or two on that second video. And then that allowed me to slowly get a little bit more engaged, checking other smaller channels out. I'm not going to mention any names. I plan to do like a second video of or a series of videos of the YouTube gaming community after I started my channel. I think back then was kind of like the I don't mean to sound like an old person, but to me that was the golden era of the close-knit community when YouTube allowed you to do video responses. But again, I'm gonna do like a second video or a separate series on what it was like to be part of the YouTube community back then. But just going back to the beginnings of my channel, it was rough obviously at first, but that never bothered me, because again, I did it basically for myself. And the beauty is I started getting subscribers very slowly but surely. My channel never grew or exploded or anything like that. In fact, the subscribers obviously have gone up, but not a whole lot, and the views surprisingly have come down, or unsurprisingly, because I think YouTube. And I'll probably do another video in where I talk about why it's so hard to get views nowadays if you're a smaller channel, which again, to me, I'm happy because I know that the few people that watch my videos are the people that actually care, that are friends that I made here on YouTube, and I could have not asked for, you know, for anything else really. But going back to the beginnings, you know, that's how I slowly started getting to know other people. And then through Kid171, you know, back then he was doing video responses, especially to the Top 3 Tuesday video series, which was a series of video responses that was done every Tuesday. And that was an excellent way of engaging the gaming community back then and getting to know people. At T1138, I think it was. He was the one that started, and that allowed you to do video responses and get a little bit of exposure. And I know that's how I got to subscribe to a lot of channels that I still am subscribed. And I know that's how a lot of people subscribe to my channel, because I would do also video responses, and it was a pretty cool way for smaller channels at least, to kind of like engage with each other and get to know each other. And it was a good time. I think it was the perfect time to have like a smaller channel that did what we do. And when I say we do, it's like my small community here, which is just sitting in front of a camera, very low budget, very low effort, you know, just hitting the record button, you know, no editing, no green screens or anything like that. But you know, that's the beauty. And those are the channels that I have enjoyed in the past, that I'm still enjoying, and that I will enjoy. You know, to me, there's nothing better than just someone being genuine, being themselves, sitting in front of a camera. No scripts or anything like that, no green screen. Who cares about that? I care about genuine people that care about the hobby of gaming, and here we are. You know, I started my channel back in 06. I started doing the on-camera thing in 2012, and now we're in 2020. So I guess you know, 8 years since I started being in front of the camera and making videos. But it's been fun, you know. It's been, for me, it's been rewarding, even though, you know, I'm not I'm not gonna be making a living off of this YouTube thing anytime soon. In fact, I don't have AdSense or whatever enabled. So even if for some reason I make a viral video, I'm not gonna get paid a dime. So I just do this for fun. I do it because I enjoyed it. I do it because of the interaction, the people that I got to know through the years. And again, I'll probably do a couple more videos in the near future, just documenting my journey in the YouTube gaming community. But this is my kind of like my beginnings video. These are the channels that I mentioned here. The first 5 were kind of like the big channels that pushed me over the edge, and then the 2 smaller channels, you know, Kid171 and Return to Mother Base, were kind of like the 2 small channels that told me, yes, you know, you can also do this, you know, and it'll be cool to get to put your thoughts out there. And if people want to see your videos and comment on them, you know, the more the better. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick video about the roots of my YouTube channel. You know, oddly enough, you know, one thing that triggered for me to do this video was I was actually thinking of starting that Underground Warp blog back, just to write very brief like impressions and put pictures of games that I'm completing and stuff. I don't know if that's gonna fly through. Again, it's something that I'll probably do just for me, but it's in the back burner. I may do I may relaunch the blog that was never really official. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all later.